Hi everyone, this is Sean with Shiha Information Technology Services, and if you can't tell, I'm here to talk to you about the end of Windows 10 support. Here, this article from Microsoft states that Windows 10 support is going to end on October 14th, 2025. That's in just about 3 weeks. It says installing Windows 11 on your current PC is one option. Getting a new PC with Windows 11 is another option, and the third option is extended security updates. This, however, is just Microsoft's officially sanctioned list. Now, there are certain cases where your PC just simply will not upgrade to Windows 11. And in those cases, you might think, well, maybe I just need to get a new PC with Windows 11, but I'm here to talk to you about a thing I had to do for a customer at one point. We had a PC with, it was this CPU right here. That is a AMD Ryzen 3 2200G. That particular CPU will not run Windows 11. Its successor, however, the 3000 series, this one being a 3600 XT, actually will run Windows 11, and it'll run it quite well. So what I ended up doing was I ended up getting a couple of 5000, I think it was 5200G series CPUs, and replacing all the ones at that particular customer's location with the new CPUs that actually would upgrade to Windows 11. I had to do that for security purposes, of course. If your computer will not upgrade to Windows 11 and there's no option to upgrade the hardware or anything to a point where it's compatible, such as, let's say you have a laptop with a Intel 6000 series CPU, that's not going to support Windows 11, not without unsupported modifications of Windows 11, which those are, of course, unsupported. You've got a few options. I'm just looking at this for, business purposes mostly. This right here is one of the options that you have available to you. You can get one of these computers right here. These are Dell Pro Micro. They're reasonably capable computers and reasonably priced as well. This one says it gets up to 32 gigabytes of RAM. If you can find supported RAM from a third party, you can probably get it up past that. This one says it supports up to 64 gigabytes of RAM, and I can believe that. This also says storage up to 1 terabyte, same here. Don't believe that. Take that with the largest grain of salt you could possibly give. Let's move over to HP. Over here, they've got their own mini desktops. They've got these ones right here, which are larger, and then we got these ones right here, which are more like the ones we saw from Dell, except it shows these ones, laying horizontal, whereas Dell shows theirs vertical. Doesn't make much difference. They've got some that are thicker, some that are thinner. So yes, that is another option, but as you can see, some of these have a little bit of a absurd price. Let's move over to Lenovo. This is another good supplier for these sorts of options. They've got their ThinkCenter mini computers, or ThinkCenter tiny computers, I should say. And some of them, like this one right here, obviously it says Snapdragon, and in a previous video I advised you against going with anything that says Snapdragon, and I'm going to say that again here. Avoid this one in particular, and definitely avoid this one. The rest of them, though, those all seem to be pretty good. That's just if you want a computer that runs Windows. You've got a few other options. This right here, once again, is System 76, powerful Linux computers. Their slogan, I guess. And we've got this computer right here, which is a little bit thicker than the ones offered by Dell or HP. Well, actually, I would say it's probably about this size right here. It might be a little bit narrower and, just generally smaller than that, but it's the same height, it looks like, at least. Let's go down to the technical specifications and then go to design and buy. Now, for something like this, you'd be looking at about $658. Let's move on to Tuxedo. They've got similar options right here, but these obviously cost more. This cheapest one that I'm looking at is 798 euros. I think we'll pass on that one. And actually, it says from 798 euros, so we'll have to pass on that one. And what if you feel like your computer is up to snuff, but just Windows doesn't want to support it? No matter what you do, it won't run. Well, in those cases, you have the option to switch your computer over to Linux. I don't like having to suggest this necessarily, but that's just how it goes. This right here is Ubuntu Linux. Ubuntu is made by Canonical, as you can see in the upper left there. Canonical is one of the largest corporate makers of Linux. Their operating system is reasonably easy to use and reasonably easy to install. Let's move over to Linux Mint over here. Linux Mint, like Ubuntu, is also easy to use and easy to install. I mean, heck, it even gives installation instructions and download link right there. This one has download link up here, and, I just feel like it's better having it right here. Let's say you want to continue using your computer and you want to continue using it for gaming. This is an option. I haven't actually used this particular distro, however, I've seen multiple videos of people actually running this distro, using it for gaming purposes, and I think it might be actually pretty decent for those purposes. Arch Linux. You may or may not have heard of this one. It's the one that everybody talks about, and nobody likes people who talk about them. Kind of like vegans or people who ride their bike everywhere. Arch Linux has a reputation of being difficult to install and difficult to work with. It is, however, not the most difficult to install or difficult to work with distributions out there. For example, Gentoo Linux over here, which I've done a video about on my personal channel, is a more difficult to work with distro. I have actually managed to break Gentoo Linux on a number of occasions. Never fatally, of course. I can always recover from that, but it's one of the more difficult Linux distributions. Personally, I would say if you are moving from Windows to Linux, you should probably stick to either Linux Mint or Ubuntu. Ideally, Linux Mint. I'm not sure how I feel about Ubuntu. The other option, if you're a business, of course, is to go with the Dell, HP, or Lenovo mini computers, or if you're looking for a change of pace, you might be able to go with one of these. So that's pretty much all I have to say about the end of Windows 10 and the insurgence of Windows 11. I don't like it any more than anybody else. It's just the nature of the beast in this case. You have to do what you have to do in order to keep your computer up to date and secure. Secure is the most important part. That is all I had to say about Windows 11 and the end of life for Windows 10.